Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Good morning, everybody. Cowboy here, and it is Tuesday, the 14th at 8:30 a.m. EST. Looking at the NASDAQ, we have some data coming out right now, like right this second. The PPI is coming out, so I wanted to zoom in on the 5-minute chart for the NASDAQ to see how it might behave. Interestingly enough, about 35 minutes ago, there was a spike in the NASDAQ. Not sure what that's about. Might have been some news, but now we're seeing it kind of pull back a little bit. But whatever it was, doesn't seem to be really affecting the markets very much. Not the NASDAQ. We take a look at the other markets right now, but it's the PPI is the data that came out. So we'll take a quick look at that. And let me see. It looks like this is supporting a possible rate cut. The inflation is low. Now, are these numbers real? We don't know. But the PPI came out cool, and big time cool on the month over month for the regular PPI. And then core PPI is still pretty cool. So this means inflation is pretty low, or I should say disinflation is pretty high, right? So technically there is still inflation because there's almost always inflation, but it's much, much lower than what people thought. Big difference here, 0.4% estimated for core PPI. That's producer price index. This is the inflation experienced by producers, by people who make things, right? And it was 0.1% instead of 0.4. And then for the PPI, which is basically the same measurement minus a few things, or plus a few things, instead of 1.1% month over month, it was actually 0.5%. So that should be bullish for a lot of stuff. And I do have delayed data on the NASDAQ, so actually we'll have to see how that plays. But if I look at the euro, there you go. It's spiking up. This is on the 5-minute. So it did push up pretty hard, but it got pushed right back down. So it looks like whatever this data is really is not affecting markets all that much. Yeah, I see USD getting weaker. So it's behaving kind of as expected. Allow me to, it looks like I may need to change something here. Give me just one moment, folks. Apologies. So the data seemed to be more or less of a nothing burger. I mean, it was important data, don't get me wrong, but the way that it affected the charts seems to be, not really that big of a deal, right? So let's move back to the charts. Speaking of which, I'm going to share this other chart from yesterday. Now, if you're receiving our emails, then you would have gotten a notification for the weekly forecast that I do. And so I basically forecasted yesterday, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 15 hours ago, roughly, that this NASDAQ would continue up, and continue up it did. So we got that one right so far. And I did a lot of forecast on that. You can say I do forecast here. That one did not go as planned. We got Bitcoin here. That one is going as planned, more or less. Euro, that one is going as planned, more or less. Actually, that one's going almost perfectly to plan. GBP, JPY, right to plan. So, gold and silver, literally following what I said gold would do. Silver pretty much is actually silver spiking up more quickly than I thought, and that's good. So, I'd say that's about 6 out of 7 correct on the weekly forecast that I do. So if you want that forecast, go into the description, click the link, you'll get a free algo. It's just a really quick video where I build it's basically the recipe for a trading bot, like a trading agent, like an AI trading agent. And so you have to build the algo first, which is really simple to do. And then you turn it into code. And once you have code, it's really easy to make it into an agent. Now, of course, you have to optimize the what I'm making in there. You have to actually optimize that for your own trading, right? So you can't just like plug it in. You have to make sure, like, okay, if you're trading Bitcoin, it's going to behave different than the euro. It's going to behave different than NASDAQ. It's going to behave different than your stock. So you have to study that before you plug it into your exchange, but it will trade for you when you're not at the exchange. And I actually show you the tech that traders use to turn it into that AI trading agent. So click on that and you'll get the weekly video. All right, that's the sales pitch. So back to the charts here. So I needed to reset something on my trading station. Give me just one moment here. Apologies. Okay, looks like we're working on that up there. All right, good. So that said, yeah, it's all dollar week stuff. So let's just go ahead and go through the charts. I'm going to go through my more trading chart, if you will, and we'll talk about what I think is going to happen here. So we'll switch to this one. All right, so NASDAQ. Looks like we're still behind on the data. I think this will pop up when it does. But overall, to take a look at the Algo stack, this is bullish, as the title says, right? So that said, just the way that I trade this is I look for pullbacks and I buy those. So if I were to just trade based on what I'm seeing on the screen here, let's go ahead and back out a little bit. We'll do a little bit of construction, take a look at the chart. It's back to basically a naked chart plus my indicators. So we have our all-time high up here, right? And that's really kind of what matters. We have a kind of a local, resistance, if you will, not local, but a more recent resistance right there. And price is probably going to want to just sprint to that. It's most likely how that is going to go. So if we want to take a look at how to trade that, maybe if you're like a swing trader, if you're somebody who, you have a job, you don't have time to sit in front of the computer, but you still want to trade, which is actually, even for those who have the time, in my opinion, this is the better way to trade. What I would do, this is kind of a tricky one because of the distortions in the market that have happened, but there's a couple ways to do this. I would do a Fibonacci extension based on this impulse right here. Now, this stuff that I'm doing here is actually really simple, old school stuff. It's great for choosing targets, though. Simple and old school doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's simple and old school. So if I were to trade this, right, I know that price is going to want to make its way up to here at some point. We had a very shallow pullback here, right? And the market's pretty bullish. To enter here is a little bit late. I would want to see a pullback before I entered, but if I did, I would go ahead and put my stop loss a bit below this 1 bar pullback right there, something like this. And I'd measure it, and I'm not being terribly precise with you here, and I'd take this trade all the way up to this 1.618 fib extension, and that's better than 2 to 1. So basically, what you're doing is putting in $1,000 to pull out a little over 2,000. Right? That's how that works. If it's successful, and it may not be, but that's what this I think is going to be. That's the best NASDAQ trade. USD JPY has been heading down. It was one of the possibilities of the of last night's prediction. I did suspect it might reject down. That was a suspicion, and I think it's going to continue down to roughly the bottom of this high time frame consolidation, this box that you see, right? So I do expect the USD JPY to head down. So what I would look for is a way to short that. Now, if I were to zoom in, this is on the 3-hour chart, and there's no real strong pullbacks that are giving me like a good trade with a lot of risk to reward, right? Like you want a trade to have, a lot of room to make money. But if I zoom in on this 30-minute chart, we do have this little pullback, this 2-bar reversal right now. So one could enter this. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to do this. I was just going to map it out, and I'm going to take a look at the indicator stack. But I think this might be okay to do. I might extend a little higher on the stop loss and use this liquidity zone, the bottom. So let me zoom in and show you what I'm talking about. Price kind of pulled back here, did some games, and then headed down. It created liquidity, and you have these 3 little areas here where it came down, touched, and then eventually broke. So that is liquidity right there. Price may want to come up to grab that. So I might put my stop loss above that, right? That would probably, that's the conservative thing to do. And it puts it above this 1 bar pullback entirely, right? So it's a deep stop really, but I think there's a lot of room on this trade. So it's a 2 to 1. I mean, that is a valid trade. And to look at the, to look at the chart, I mean, I think I'm going to go ahead and take this one. So that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this trade. Let's see here. Okay, there's my liquidity. 59, 158.972, 158.972. That'll be my stop. And let's go with that. I think we'll do this. Just measuring my position size here. All right, I'll go ahead and take this. So this will be a trade that I took on the live lab. And what did I have for my stop loss here? Did it not? Okay, where are my positions? It's like it didn't. It's like the trade didn't happen. All right, hold on. Sorry, folks. I got a little snafu on the exchange here. $158,972. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, folks. Give me a second here. Okay, that worked. Good. Trade on. 158,086 will be my take profit. So I did put a deeper stop than I normally would, but you saw the logic in it. So let me just finish the trade. 8.086. Good. So this is better than a 2-to-1 for me. That's good. I like those. It's going on a 3-to-1. So that's a trade. Let me put that up in the group here. And the news kind of continues to like make that work, right? The news is definitely not going against it. I'll put that in. All right, let's take a look at, we have time for Bitcoin. No, you know what? That's the end of the public live lab. We're going to move over to the private live lab. So if you want to see more of what's going on here, like I'm taking trades live, showing everybody what I'm doing. I'm not like coming back later and saying, hey, I got this amazing trade. Like, like, for example, the NASDAQ one from yesterday's video. I did that yesterday and now it's in profit today. And I posted that yesterday. So anybody who's watching that is able to see, hey, it's not something I just came in today and said, oh, I took this trade yesterday. Like, no, I literally posted it yesterday. So, we're real here. And Algo Factory sees my wins, my losses, my break evens. They see it all. So it's not like I'm just showing my wins, right? So come on over to algofactory.tech, learn how to build your own AI trading agent, learn how to trade like a hedge fund pro. I'm going to be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. EST sharp. And there's not any more news the rest of the week, which in a way is kind of a good thing. As long as there's still volatility, there's money to be made. And you never know. Trump could say something crazy, add volatility to the market. It is an interesting time to trade. That's for sure. But links in the description. Free Algo, which you use to build an AI trading bot. Very simple thing to do. It's way easier than you think. We'll hope to see you soon. Ciao. Oh, yeah. Don't forget.
Join us or die.
You're not going to die. Just kidding. We love you.